talking about this. I guess we are. But I was like,
Yeah, it's nuts.
I
got
see
you
what
going
there.
nuts,
It
dude.
got, yeah. You blink and boom, you're at episode 7. Like, how the heck does that happen? But welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm Perdita. And as always, I am joined by the talented Aaron Brown. There he is. Aaron, I feel like we go away for a few days. We come back, and this sport is like already off the rails. In the best way, though. In the best way.
Hey, it's never a dull moment in track and field. That's why we have Trackside. We got to bring the news. You got to keep up.
That's
and
it.
much like Trackside, we're on episode 7. The track and field season is much underway. So we're going to cover a lot of topics. We got people switching allegiances. We got Jerome Blake going crazy, running sub 10 for the first time. We got Canadian records in the 100. It's a good show. So we're going to give people their flowers later, but we're going to get right into this show. There's a lot to cover.
There is a lot to cover. And also, the best part, at least for me, and I think for you too, is like the Olympic champion herself is on our show. Yes. Julien Alfred, my fellow St Lucian queen. Like, AB, did I act a plum fool during that interview? I mean, I was fangirling a lot, wasn't I? I know I was.
Just a little. But she's the Olympic champion, so you get a pass. It's all good.
You got to. Okay, let's actually talk about what people are talking about right now on the internet's Gout Gout, the 17-year-old sprinting phenom and his massive European debut in Ostrava. All eyes were on the talented Aussie at the Golden Spike meet, and he did not disappoint. Did you see his last 50 meters? I mean, he walked down Cuba's Rainier Mena. Who? Yes, Mena, a man more than a decade older than him. No shade, no tea either. I'm just saying. This happened on his way to a new 200-meter personal best in an area record time of 20.02. That is moving. Now, people say Gout Gout is the next Usain Bolt. And, I mean, he did break the Jamaican legend's under-18 world record. So, AB, how do you feel about the hype around this young man? Do you believe the hype?
Do I believe? Well, it depends. If you're asking me if he's the next Usain Bolt, then I'm going to be out on that for now. I reserve the comparisons because we've seen them throughout the decade, throughout my whole career. I've heard this guy's the next Usain Bolt, and it hasn't materialized. So I think we could pump the brakes on that one. But in terms of his potential and his talent, I am definitely in on that. Like, the way that he closes races is very impressive. He's got something that a lot of athletes aspire to have when they run, especially in the 200 meters, which is to have that strong finish. And he's not accelerating at the end. He's just not tying up and dying like other people do at the end of the race. So he looks very special, and he's got the capabilities to go a lot faster. He's a very tall sprinter, lanky guy. He's got the frame, and I understand the Usain Bolt comparisons because he kind of looks like a young Bolt, just with, the little twists and the dreads. So I get it. And he's also got the great name, Gout Gout. Usain Bolt is, it just sounds like a future world record holder. And then Gout Gout, it's very unique. It's very one of one. So I get it. He's got the makings of a star in the future, and I'll give him that for sure. He's a young talent. I'm excited to see how he develops over the years. But in terms of Usain Bolt, the greatest specimen we've ever seen grace the track, let's just slow down a little bit.
But here's the thing. Even Usain Bolt, the Jamaican legend himself, said, you know what? This kid looks like me. I mean, come on. 17-year-old Gout Gout, 17-year-old Bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have the same head shape. Yeah, I kind of see it. But you know what? You're not joking. Arian Knighton, you know that name. He was compared at around 17, 18-year-olds to Bolt. Zarnell Hughes, right now, compared. Trayvon Bromell. And not saying their careers have not been great. They're medalists, but at least 2 of them are. But they haven't been historic in the way Usain Bolt has. So I wonder about the pressure that you put on this young man and the expectation that he has to kind of live up to Usain Bolt or anybody of that nature. I feel like he should just be the first Gout Gout. Don't you think?
Yeah, and we get this in all kinds of sports, like who's going to be the next Michael Jordan, who's going to be the next Usain Bolt. But has any athlete, a young, precocious talent, ever said, I want to be the next this? Or do they always say, no, I don't want that. I want to pave my own path and blaze my own trail? So I don't know why we continually fall for this, where we say this person's the next this, because then it just heaps a mountain of pressure on them. They feel like they have to do a certain thing. Sometimes they feel like they have to change who they are, and maybe play up to the camera and be extra flamboyant and stuff like that. And no, just be you. Let's see what you got and what you can bring to the table, and we'll appreciate you for that. But when we get into the comparison stuff, it diminishes what we're doing now, because him running 20:02 is phenomenal.
Yes.
But the fact that he's got these Usain Bolt comparisons, now you're gonna have people nitpicking and people talking down when we should all just be like, wow, it's a phenomenal run from a phenomenal 17-year-old sprinter. But the pressure, I get it. We love to chase the next thing. We all fell in love with Usain Bolt and all the records and stuff like that, his personality, and then the human thing to do is to chase for that again and say, I want to relive that moment in somebody else. But it's promising, but let's slow down a little bit.
Let's slow our roll. Let's pump our brakes. I feel you.
Yeah.
But he's not slowing his roll because I feel like he wants some of this smoke. Like he's very confident. Listen to what he said on this podcast here with Noah Lyles.
I'm trying to show you what's up. So I'm trying to come at that with a
That's what I love to hear.
So, whatever I gotta do to show Noah I'm coming for that spot.
Oh, he's coming for you. Do you like this kind of cockiness from these young athletes? Like, do you dig it, or you think they should just shut up, Buttercup?
Well, I understand it. When athletes are young, they're full of exuberance, they're full of hype. They have all their homies around them, gassing them up, telling them that they're the next this, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. The mark of who's going to be the next Usain Bolt or the next great champion, the guy that break the records, is the people who not just run fast young, but are able to translate that when they're older and then carry it through when they're more mature, when their body develops, and then you're actually day in and day out racing the best in the world. That's when we really see what you're all about.
Listen, you're not lying because there's a lot that comes with it. It's not just about how fast you can run. It's the circuit. It's the racing. It's the psychology. It's the pressure. It's the sleep. It's the lining up. It's the travel. It's the jet lag. We know it, right? We go on and on. Yep. And so I love these young athletes and even their parents who have them in all these specialized sports, and they have their nutrition coaches and their strength coaches, and it's like, you're 13 years old, you don't even know what's going to happen and how you're going to develop. So you might be the fastest 12-year-old, but you might not be the fastest 15-year-old. Do you know what I'm saying? So
that's exactly where I get tripped up and why I'm like, okay, let me wait and see what he develops to, because these people train. I didn't train like this at all. I didn't lift weights. I barely came to practice. I just showed up and I was running on pure talent, pure talent and Honey Nut Cheerios and whatever I was eating for breakfast. No, I didn't have a diet. I have a trainer. I didn't lift weights. These kids are on a whole nother level. They got the best equipment. They got protein shakes. They're lifting weights. They look like grown men at 18 years old. So we're kind of comparing apples to oranges, because if we were exposed to that at a younger age, maybe we would have ran faster. But then that might have stunted our growth for our development when we got older. So it's hard to say. He could be the next record breaker. He could be a teen sensation, and then that's where he plateaus. We don't know.
Time will tell. We'll see. Maybe he'll see you in LA. We don't know, but we'll definitely be here.
I mean, Australia 2032, that would be a good story.
This is true. How many years away is that?
Perfect for him.
7?
Let's see. Carry 7. The one. Yeah.
Carry the
7
not
years.
carry the one. But clearly mass is not our ministry. Okay, next segment. Now, this story has rocked the track and field world. Jamaican fans were shooketh. 4 athletes, including 3 of their Olympic medalists from Paris, are switching their allegiance to Turkey. The biggest name is the Olympic champion in discus, Roger Stona. And all 4 are said to be getting a signing bonus of $500,000. I mean, that's some serious cash. AB, how much money would it take for you to just drop the maple leaf like a hotcake?
Oh man, Turkey, you got to come with it, man. 500K is not enough.
Oh,
maybe it'd be like what Donovan said to bring him in that race. 40 million. That sounds about right. But I understand it, and it goes beyond just the cash. Okay, like a lot of people will think about the money and they'll say, "Oh, would I do it for this amount? Would I do that?" It's like one of those scenarios where you ask your friends, like, "Hey, would you eat this bug for 10K?" And those fun little scenarios like that. But if you dive deeper in this scenario, it's a lot more insidious. I feel like there's been problems with the JAAA for years, and athletes have spoken out. You even had a legend like Asafa Powell saying, like, I don't want my kids to run for the federation. He's not going to say that lightly, unless there was something seriously going on within the scene. And other athletes have spoken out and expressed their concerns with the federation. So I think it's deeper than just chasing the money. I think they're probably thinking, I want to leave anyways, and this opportunity just dropped down. They're like, well, if I'm going to leave, I might as well get the bag too.
But to your point, though, AB, this doesn't feel like it's a mercenary move. This is not about money. This is about a federation who's not really treating their athletes right. And they're deciding, like, I'm going to choose me. I only have a few years where I can make money and I got to think about my future. So this is what I'm going to do. From your end, do you think that this jeopardizes how the Jamaican public might think of them or how, they feel about their own identity? I think that'd be a hard thing for us to go into their mind, but I would wonder about that,
Yeah. Well, I think the public perception is going to be split. Naturally, you're going to have people who are diehards and don't understand the economics of it and just look at the athletes like they should be loyal through and through no matter what.
Yeah.
From me as an athlete, I understand why you would want to make that move if you're not in a position where you feel like you can cash in on your small window where you're actually successful. You want to reap the earnings. And apparently, the gold medalists in Jamaica are only making $19,000 US dollars. In US dollars terms. So for some, they might say, hey, that's not enough. You might say, hey, it shouldn't be about the money, just about getting gold for your country. But like I said, small window, you're at the height of your career. You want to cash in while you can, because as quickly as it comes, it goes even quicker.
One quick fact, they have to sit out of competition for 3 years. So they're not making this decision lightly, right? And so from the last time they competed for Jamaica internationally, so if it was Paris, they are not able to compete until 2027. So to your point, they are not making this lightly. I think they really decided, like, I'm putting myself first. So let's see what happens. Look, we definitely need a Jamaican perspective on this. And to help us out, from Caribbean broadcaster Ricardo Chambers, thank you for weighing in on this, truly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Perdita, for having me, and Aaron as well. Perdita, I still haven't forgiven you for beating Bridget Foster Hilton in 2003, but we can let that rest a little bit for today.
Oh, you're taking it back to 2003. Wow. Ricardo, thank you again for joining us. I mean, has there anything interesting going on in Jamaica? I feel like there's headline after headline going on, man. What's the reaction like in Jamaica right now? What's the vibes like?
Yeah, I think at this stage, just a little bit too much that's going on in Jamaica right now. Of course, as you know, the Nationals start tomorrow, where Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has said that it will be her last time competing in Jamaica. But I don't think we've really had the opportunity to start the build-up to a farewell that she really deserves in a significant way, because the news that broke last week that 4 Jamaican athletes, and we're talking about 3 Olympic medalists and a world under-20 record holder, who are in the process of switching allegiance to Turkey, and that's what has been dominating the headlines for the last week. I think for the most part, most Jamaicans are on the side of the athletes. I think they understand at least that the athletes are looking out for their best interest. They are trying to secure futures, not just for themselves, but for their families as well. And you would understand, both Aaron and Perdita, how significant, how important that is. And I think even the Jamaicans who are hurt by the decision, they appreciate that it was not a simple decision for the athletes, that it must have taken careful thought. And ultimately, the athletes have to look out for what is their best interest. And that is not to say that there aren't individuals who have bashed the athletes, who believe in loyalty, who believe in country over anything else. But as many of the athletes have been saying, loyalty does not pay the bills.
I want to play this clip from the Jamaican shot putter, Rajendra Campbell, who had this to say about the federation.
The Adidas contract that the J3s refused to sign, there were bonuses that benefit the athlete, not the federation. There were certain things they wouldn't have control over because it would be directly to the athlete, based on my understanding. And they went against that. They more care about their lie to the sponsor and not their lie to the country. No statement was made about it. Nothing was made about it. Everything, there needs to be some transparency in how sports is managed in Jamaica. And until that happens, I believe more athletes will leave.
Ricardo, what I basically hear him saying is that, the federation, the athletes are sponsored by Puma, but there was an opportunity for Adidas to come on board. But, the Jamaican Federation said no. And he's saying that there's a lack of transparency. This deal could have potentially helped the athletes. What do you know about that specifically, and overall what their gripe is with the federation?
I think an even more significant issue from my standpoint, whether it is Adidas or Puma or Nike that is sponsoring the Jamaican Federation, is the J3A is putting in place a formal system that speaks to how athletes will be assisted by the federation. He did get some assistance from the J3As. 1 month, I think it was February last year, he got, I think, something like $500, and then the following month he got $500 again. But then there was nothing else coming from the association. And it wasn't until he got to the Olympic Games in Paris where he approached one member of the association, the treasurer, and he gave him $700. Now, part of the significant issue about that for me is the lack of that system that allows something like that to happen, because as it is right now, it just appears as if those athletes who are in need of assistance are forced to be begging the federation and running behind the federation month after month and time after time. It is an issue of transparency, but it is also an issue of integrity. And once again, not for the first time, the integrity of the federation has been called into question, in my opinion.
So what do you feel like vibes-wise has there been any like rumblings about any future athletes possibly making a change? I know you can't give up your sources and you gotta, remain a little neutral in that sense, but have you heard like any other athletes considering leaving? And do you think there's anything that the J3A can do to prevent this in the future?
So that's a great question, right? Because I don't think it is straightforward. I think there are several levels to it. Oh, wow, I said levels. Brian Level is one of the athletes we confirmed earlier this week who was approached by Turkish Federation. Our sources tell us, though, that he has declined the offer. A lot of Jamaicans are turning down these offers. In fact, Rajendra Campbell did say in that piece that he turned down an offer in 2023. So let's see how these very athletes feel about it in another 2 years or so. From an association standpoint, you just have to become as transparent as possible. You have to do the very best that you can do for the athletes. And if after all of that they still leave, then at least you can say we have done our best. I'm sure, at least with Athletics Canada, whether you agree with how much you are getting, at the end of the day, you know exactly what it is, you know the terms of engagement, and that makes a significant difference. Right now, the Jamaican athletes who need assistance are not sure of the terms of engagement. Sometimes they are not even sure what to apply for. And as I said earlier, they reach out to the association. Sometimes they don't even get a reply. And other times they are wondering, why are others getting assistance when we are not getting any?
Wise words, Ricardo Chambers. I also just found out you are an encyclopedia, okay? And I see why you have your job. Thank you for your insights and your time. And please say hi to my girl Bridget for me. I love her. Say hi for me.
And she did get her world title after all. That's the only reason why I'm forgiving you.
Yes, Berlin 2009. She kicked all our butts in that final. World champion Bridget Foster. You are right. Thanks, Ricardo.
All right, thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Take care. Wow, Ricardo really came with the knowledge, man. That guy's an encyclopedia. He gave us all the facts, the lowdown of what's going on in Jamaica. It's crazy. So much drama going into this weekend when we got trials. We got plenty of material there, but we're focused on the off-the-track stuff. But hopefully we get back to Jamaican trials, great performances, getting back to the on-track stuff.
This is it. And the on-track stuff I want to talk about is the queen of the track right now, Julien Alfred. We talked about her a lot, but here's that interview. Right, the Olympic champion from Paris in the women's 100 meters, the first person ever in the history of her beautiful island nation, St. Lucia, to bring home a medal from the Olympics of any color, and it is gold. Juju, Julien Alfred, Sakafet, and welcome to Trackside, my girl.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on air.
Love that. Okay, you've been having like the best week ever. First of all, back-to-back wins in Oslo and Stockholm. And then you also at Oslo get to meet your idol, Usain Bolt. Like, what was that meeting him?
I mean, it's been a dream come true. I mean, it was just an honor to meet him. I went to Jamaica for like 3 years and never got a chance to like meet him in person. And I mean, to finally meet him at this stage of my life, it was such an honor.
What do you say?
I mean, I had so many questions to ask him, and one of the main questions I asked was, what's it like to achieve so many things, and what did he do to achieve so many things? And one thing that he said to me was that focusing on what you did to get there, which is training, and not being distracted by having, sometimes when we win, we have so many different opportunities presented to us at the time. And it's just really picking and choosing which one is important and which one is not, and really not forgetting what really got us there, which is training.
I want to ask you, do you know that you have fans in Canada? And, we have this clip of Perdita that we want to play for you. So go ahead and check this out.
I got my Lucian bracelets. I gotta put on my Lucian necklace. Let's go. Come on! Come on, Alfred. Hold them. Hold them, Alfred. Hold them, Alfred.
So that's the co-host Perdita cheering you on. Fans in Canada, how does that feel to have support around the world?
No, it feels surreal till now. One, just remembering, what I've done, especially in Paris, and just seeing the amount of support that I have like around the world, and now knowing Canada, I have so many supporters in Canada. It's such an amazing feeling.
Nice. Can you even walk around? Like, do you get mobbed? Do you have to have security detail on you protecting you? Like, what's it like? I know you have your national holiday, Julien Alfred Day, September 27th. So what's it like for you? Has your life changed? Do you need security on you 24/7?
I'm always assigned one when I go to St Lucia for sure now. But I mean, I'm really just a regular person. I'm a daughter of the soil, and it's really different for me now seeing that just before I won the Olympics, I would walk around like a regular person. And now I have to walk around like with somebody always with me to ensure that I'm safe. I'm walking on island. But I mean, I'm a regular person. I see myself as just this person walking around like I'm a daughter of the soil, born and raised in St Lucia. So it really doesn't feel different. I mean, what is different is just having somebody with me 24/7, but everything else is like pretty much the same to me.
You have just really done something so significant, and I honestly don't think for you it's going to sink in right away. I think you're still processing and going through it as you compete. Really, the way that you've just put the island on the map and the way that you've inspired, other athletes. In fact, there's I think is it JD or Jetty Emmanuel is another athlete.
JD Emmanuel.
Yeah, JD Emmanuel, right? 2 double gold medals from Carifta Games. When you see performances like hers, how rewarding is it for you to understand that you've really just elevated the level and the significance of track and field and sport really in St. Lucia?
I really don't look at it that way until somebody allows me to like view it, their way on how they see it. Part of it is using what I've done to also grow the sport. And I think based on where I'm at, all the way in Texas, I don't think I realized the impact that I have on others who trains in St. Lucia, such as JD. But just when I'm told that, I inspire the younger generation in St. Lucia, I mean, that's really what I wanted, because I grew up watching Liv Spence, I grew up watching Usain Bolt, and really wanted to be that inspiration for the youth in St. Lucia. We also have like Naomi London, who's now at Texas. She's competing for Texas and hoping to have JD at Texas. So we're trying to build our 4x1 right here at Texas, for the near future. But it's just such a great feeling being an inspiration for the youth of my country and really hoping to grow the sport like even more. So I'm really hoping with the growth of, track and field, and we have more like national athletes representing us and doing well, on an international stage or regional stage. I really hope that track and field can just be hopefully one of the biggest sports in St. Lucia.
Well, JD, if you're watching this, I'm a Trojan, so I'm gonna throw support there. I know Julie's a Texas Longhorn, but go ahead and sign with the Trojans. But Julien, you're only 24 years old, and I've been watching. I remember when you were in college and you were just lighting it up. You set the world on fire. Won all those NCAA titles, broke collegiate records, won the Bowerman, and then, of course, last year won the gold and silver in Paris. At 24 years old, you've achieved a lot in your career. What's left for you? What else are you trying to knock off on the checklist?
I really don't want to go to be competing on the international stage like 35, 36. I don't want that for myself. When I'm done, I feel like I've achieved like everything that I have or I could possibly do. I would go back home and just live a peaceful life. Like just go back to nature, go back to my home, go back to my island. But what's next for me? I really can't say. I do want to give the next couple of years the best shot possible and put my all into it. I mean, we have world championships coming up this year, which I really want to like at least get 2 medals in the 100 and the 200. Then we have Olympics 28. I really want to like a title again during that time. But just really give it the best shot possible the next couple of years in my career.
And you are coached by a Canadian. Well-known fact that, Coach Flo knows, Edric Florial. By the way, your coach, okay, I know him very well. He still owns the Canadian triple jump record. So when you see him at practice tomorrow, you tease him about it. 1989, okay? That was like a long time ago. Yes, he still owns it. But
That's crazy.
Isn't that old? Flo.
That is.
But for you, like, how much has his mentorship, his leadership, he's almost like a surrogate father to you. How much does that relationship mean to you?
It means so much to me. I've been at Texas since I was 17, which is very young compared to like when most persons join college. And after I won the Olympics, which I didn't even remember, there was a viral video going around that Flo Track recorded, I think because Coach Flo was mic'd up during that time at conference. And I was just so hard on myself. I was just 17, joining Texas, representing Texas at conference. And I was just so hard on myself already at a young age. But I think he just always instilled in me that, sometimes you have to learn to lose. And I remember my first time being at Nationals 2022 when Aaron Brown's teammate beat me for the first time. I remember he called me and he said to me, like, the world goes on and forget about it. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Take your loss and move on because everybody has moved on with their life. And I think that day to day, he always instilled in me like different life practices. I mean, now I'm still with him, which shows that, my loyalty like lies with Coach Flo because of how much he has just poured into me.
Thank you for making time for Trackside. I know Aaron Brown and I were really happy to hear that you signed on to talk to us. So we wish you the best for the rest of the season, and we can't wait to see what you do next, girl.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
That was so cool. And AB, I did not fangirl that much.
No, you did good. I'm just going to have to ask for some grace for my teammates. I got a lot of competition for her, especially coming up at Prefontaine. So they got to forgive me. As the Olympic champion, we had to chop it up.
Well, you had to. Okay, it is shout out time. And I know you need to shout out your boy, Jerome Blake.
Yes. The Paris Olympic champion, Jerome Blake, the guy that I passed the baton to win that special gold in Paris, became only the 6th Canadian man ever to dip under the 10 seconds barrier over the weekend, and the first to do so this season. Jerome, give me some time. I'm coming too. After racing to a new lifetime best, 997, at a meet in Germany, the 29-year-old's first career sub-10 clocking is the 14th best time in the world so far. Perdita, can you tell me the other 5 men who have run sub-10 in Canadian history?
What? You're putting me on the spot? What is this?
You're on the spot. This is your trivia. Trackside trivia.
Okay. Donovan Bailey.
Boom.
Bruni Serin.
Boom.
Andre DeGrasse.
Boom.
There's 2 more, right? Have you gone sub-10?
I don't know, have I?
Aaron Brown, because he'll kill me if I don't put his name in the list. And there's only 1 more in history?
Nice. Yeah.
Is it Esme or Carlton?
Nope.
Neither of those. It's not Gavin.
88.
Oh, Ben Johnson.
There you go.
Wow. What was my mark? A++, right? 100 mark, 100%.
I don't know. You have to ask me about me, so you're a little...
Because I have to humble you. I got to humble you. Okay, moving on to our second shout.
Fine.
He just wants me to puff him up. I can't do that right now. Okay, we got to get...
Come on, man. You gotta hype me up, Okay,
I'm going to hype you up. This is true. We're a team. We're a team.
Yeah,
okay, somebody else we need to shout out and hype up is Sade McCreath. You know the name, and don't forget it, because Jerome Blake is not the only athlete from Canada who put it down. McCreath has also entered the chat when she stormed to a new PB, 10:95. She did that at the Bob Vickers Classic in Ontario, in London specifically, equaling the national record set last year by Audrey Leduc. So shout out to Sade. Man, this relay program is looking real nice.
Hey, I think they're Trackside fans. Between Jerome and Sade, they must have heard the episode when we were talking about Cameron and Ethan saying that Canada's a hammer throw nation. And they said, all right, let me turn up in this 100. Let me show you guys what we can do. But shout out to her. I didn't see that coming, but big PR, tying Audrey Leduc in the 100 in their Canadian record. So now they got some depth. Watch out for Canada in the women's sprints.
Yeah, 2 sub-11. Okay, we have a final shout out, okay? And let me tell you right now, You might lose some brain cells, but you know, it's okay. Just rock with us because I have never, ever reported on anything like this in my life. And hopefully I never have to again. But we're just here to bring you the news. Okay, Chris Robinson had one of the most remarkable 400-meter hurdle wins I've ever seen in my life in Ostrava. Halfway through, Buddy had a total, how do I say it? Wardrobe malfunction. I mean, all his parts weren't exposed, okay? So much so he had to adjust his shorts. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. Man, like 5 times. Not that I was counting. It just kept happening, hurdle after hurdle and after hurdle, and he still managed to win and set a season's best of 48.05. Oh my goodness, AB, how do I put it? This race was nuts. It really was.
It was. But I gotta say, as crazy as it was also impressive. The fact that you can adjust yourself mid-race, have the wherewithal to keep going over hurdles. You're tying up, you got the lactic acid you're dealing with. 400 hurdles is a hard enough race enough to deal with. And having to adjust your junk and make sure that you're not overly exposed. You know, kudos to him. He laughed it off at the end, so I don't think he's going to be too mortified. But hey, maybe he can leverage this into a sponsorship, you know? OnlyFans, you know? I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
OnlyFans, yes, or like high performance Hanes. Like, could you imagine the headline or something?
Or a nut company, you know?
Pistachio, a nutcracker brand. You're right.
We're just spitballing here, you know?
It could be anything.
Yeah, strike while the iron's hot.
There you go. Get his agent on the phone, somebody.
Yeah,
but you know what I was thinking? I was like, you know what? The fact that he won probably made it be worse, meaning, I'm losing my words. You get what I'm saying. This is just, who's talking about this? I guess we are. But I was like.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's
got you going nuts.
Pretty much. But here's my thing. I'm like, if he was 6th, 7th, or 8th, we wouldn't notice maybe because he'd be in the back. But the fact that, sir, you still went ahead and won, like, I don't know if you should have done that. But very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Yeah. Okay, could we get back on track? Should we get this back on the rails?
Let's focus.
Okay, focus. Okay, Jacory Patterson. We talked to him last week. You know that name. 400-meter specialist from the USA, has had a breakthrough, season so far from the Grand Slam, and we got to catch up with him. So here's that conversation. The latest Nike athlete to be signed is here on Trackside. So happy to see you.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on, man? I know everybody's been asking you about this UPS thing ever since the Grand Slam Miami meet. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you still working at UPS? Are you hustling now? What's going on?
UPS. I'm done with UPS. I'm full track athlete now.
Okay. Well, tell me more about that, because I gave you a lot of respect. I don't know you personally, but just hearing your story of how you were working at UPS and then working as a professional athlete, I know the grind. It's hard enough being a professional athlete, but having a UPS job on top of that's mad respect for that. So I appreciated that story. But talk more about that and give us some background on that.
Yeah, man. So out of college, like, I wasn't able to get a professional contract. So like real life had hit like quick. And even when I was at Florida, I had a job working with, cause I had an education. I have an education major, so I was working in a school with kids. Looking after them, just being like that person that I wanted when I was their age. That was my first job. And then when I moved back home, when I made the transition from Coach Holloway to French seat, I was like, okay, that was one job. Now I gotta get another job, cause I still didn't have a deal. So, and then my friend worked at UPS, and they're like, they're hiring right now. So I was like, bump it, I'm gonna just go move some boxes. And then it just stuck. So like when I'm there, I'm just like, man, something is gonna shake. And then like when I would show up to practice, I'm like, I would go to Francie like, Coach, I gotta get out of UPS. Like let's make it happen. So yeah, it just happened, man. It was like a pinch me moment. Once I finally ran that 43, and then everything else just unfolded after that.
So now you're pro. You got this Nike contract. We won't ask you all your business, how many zeros are in there. We're not gonna ask, not nosy rosies, although I want to know. But anyways, don't tell me, confidential. But I want to know, how has life really changed for you since that Miami, when you put that 43 down? How has life changed?
Yeah, for sure. So it actually started after I ran 44.2 in Tom Jones. But I guess being like the TV and like Grand Slam is big, so like it was more, it got out there more like after I ran it. And then 43, like only a certain amount of people ran 43, so like I guess that was real big. And so like after I ran that, everything just took off. And then it took a little minute. Like I think most people think it was just like okay, I ran it and signed, but like it took like a couple weeks, like almost like a month and some change cause like Aaron, like sign, like it's a process, like it don't just happen overnight. So then like I just wanted to make sure like wherever I went was best for me, my family, and then just longevity wise. So yeah, man, it's a blessing for sure.
What's your reaction to the Grand Slam being canceled in Los Angeles? How do you feel about that? Because a lot of people are feeling like Grand Slam was getting momentum. It was building up to something special in LA. Were you planning to go back to LA and run another one? Or like, what was your reaction when you heard that it was canceled?
So I wasn't planning on going to LA to run, but like when I saw that they were canceling, I'm just like, bro, wow, like it got so much momentum. Like the meet has been doing so good. Like I said before, like track has never seen anything like this, whether it's money or just the fan base and the publicity that it's getting. Like everything is just like wow, like this is really happening. Like because track has never seen nothing like this. So big shout out to Michael Johnson. But I just hope that that's all it is. Like it's nothing like big, so it can continue like further down the line. Cause like this Grand Slam is like big. Like I really like what they're doing with Grand Slam.
Yeah, they've done a lot for you. Have they paid you yet, Jacory? Am I being too much?
No.
You're waiting on that big check, huh?
Yeah, I'm waiting, man. So I'm just waiting patiently. So yeah, man. I just hope that they can continue down the line. Cause I mean, I would definitely go back and run in Grand Slam.
We know as far as trials goes, USA is by far the hardest. It's always deep. It's always very competitive, and especially in the 400 meters. Right now, you're number one in the U.S., but how are you preparing for USA trials knowing that everyone's coming with the smoke?
Man, I'm still training like I'm not number one. Like, I know you got Quincy Hall, you got Chris Bailey, you got Vernon, you got, all the OGs, like still, like it's easier to for my opinion, I feel like it's easier to hunt than to be the one, at the top. It's hard to stay at the top. So I'm training like I don't even got them one time in the US. Like the goal is still go out there and run like I still work at UPS. Like
UPS mentality.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going into trials with. So, cause I know like I can't get comfortable. I got the Olympic champ, I'm lining up with the Olympic champ in 6 weeks. So, and then Chris Bailey, 44-1. Like, so I can't get complacent. I can't get comfortable. And I think, like Francis, he'll make sure that.
Yeah. You should trademark that, bro. UPS mentality.
UPS mentality. Put it in my bio on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, Jacory no longer works at UPS Patterson. Thank you for making the time. Congrats on your Nike contract. And again, appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on, man. I'll see you in pre.
Yes, sir.
Jacory is the nicest guy, and you're going to be catching up with him, seeing him at pre next week. That's cool.
Yeah, I expect nothing less from Prefontaine, bringing the best talent as always. It's 50th anniversary, so you got to check that one out. And I'm going to be looking at that 400 meters. It's going to be full of stacked talent and no longer working at UPS. So he doesn't have that baggage holding him back. He's going to be full throttle. He's got that new Nike sponsorship.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Listen, pre is the part of the season. I don't know if you feel this way, but when I used to race, it was the part of the season where I'm like, oh, you got to bring it. Like, this is really where you see you stack up, right? It's like the turning point. Like, see where you're at. So let's see.
Especially in a long season like this, it's time to really show what you got.
It is time. And speaking of turning things up, a sub 4-minute mile is a barrier no woman has ever broken, but Kenya's Faith Kipyegon is aiming to be the first on Thursday in Paris. The initiative is backed by Nike and called Breaking 4 laps, 1,600 meters, and 1 moment in time. We'll have a full reaction next week on Trackside. You can catch us next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, I guess that is it for us. Although the Jamaican trials are coming up quickly, AB, what showdown are you wanting to see the most?
I mean, it's hard to go against the women's 100 meters. The GOAT, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Got to see what she's going to come with this season. She's always full of surprises. She's been a mother. She's come back, dominated. She's just the greatest. I want to see what she's going to do in her final time in Jamaica.
You just stole my idea. You looked at my notes. You're cheating. I was going to have the same answer. I was going to have the same answer too. You're right. I can't wait to see what Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce does. I hope she makes this team. I believe she can, but historic. Okay, could you imagine? We've run out of things to talk about. I guess this is the end. I guess this is good. Who knew? Who knew? My husband would be like,
Yeah.
what? You have nothing to talk about? Yeah, I have nothing to talk about. This is the end of the show. We'll see you next Thursday,
Yes.
everyone. 10 a.m. ET.